My fellow moviegoers, I have watched Operation Blood Hunt. So the plot goes like this. A reverend gets sent on a mission to kill werewolves with a band of military soldiers. It's a suicide squad, but for werewolves is what you can call it. And the plot is just as simple as that. So in this universe, vampires exist, werewolves exist, and it's a bit of a indie underworld in a sense. So let's start with the good. There are a few action scenes that do work, but they're very brief. The vast majority of them will have you laughing out loud. You know, the squibs for the blood, not too bad, but the gunshots for the guns, oh my gosh, it's just horrible after effects. I think you could get video co-pilot gunshots that look better than that. That shit looked like it was made by a student who just came out of high school. Sorry to the visual effects people, but that shit just didn't look good. I mean, the action is probably as far as I can give the movie credit for. The action was solid here and there, better than in Werewolves. The wire work was better used here than in Werewolves, I would say. But there's some gory scenes. This does look like a werewolf movie. This happened to have more goriness than Werewolves had, and Werewolves had a much bigger budget. This is something that I think if these two creative teams could have came together and kind of flesh some stuff out and get a solid script, we would have had a good werewolf movie here. Between Operation Blood Hunt and Werewolves, those teams, if they could have worked something out, we would have had a damn good start to a franchise. But separate, no, this stuff just doesn't work. So Operation Blood Hunt has aspirations that it just can't fulfill. I don't understand why these indie movies are going over budget. Like, I love the practical werewolves, but you have too many. And one werewolf is enough to kill a 10-man team that's shooting regular bullets. So you have a squad of 6. These aren't even highly trained. We find out early in the film, which was hella stupid, the Reverend gets introduced as a vampire hunter or a supernatural being hunter, and he hunts down the vampire in the beginning. But when he gets sent on the mission with these other 5 people, none of the other ones are aware of what they're going there for, and they have no knowledge of werewolves or supernatural entities like that. So the Reverend is the only one trained. So you send one person who's fully knowledgeable of the situation, but then the other 5 don't have a clue of what the fuck is going on. And they literally say that in the movie, like, oh shit, what's going on? Why are you not shocked, but I'm shocked? And, you know, and it's just like, what are we doing here? So why would you send 90% of the people over there just to die because they don't know what the fuck to do? They don't know how to kill a werewolf, if they run into one, or to even expect one. You just send in an untrained team over there to retrieve some lost gold. That's the twist of the film, is the Reverend would sit there to kill werewolves by these military people, and then the military general that he got sent with is going there for lost gold. It doesn't make any sense that a military person would send his team of specialized people that have no knowledge of what they're getting themselves into to retrieve something that they really want. It made no sense. You have him not knowing anything, but the Reverend knows something, but the whole time the Reverend's there, he's not doing anything. He's literally walking in the back. He only becomes like the quote-unquote badass towards the end when the werewolves actually pop up. I mean, this film was bad. So I'd give this film, just because of the concept and the attempt, I give it a 2 out of 5. And that's only because of the concept, the efforts made. You had the gore that came in there. You have the little bit of action scenes in there. It kind of made it tolerable for the horrible dialogue, the bad editing that was in there. In this shot that you see right here, this is in the first few minutes of the film, and you see the stunt guys still in the back of the suit. So once I seen this, In the first 5 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, I know what we're getting into. There's no high quality anything here. Yeah. So we have that. These people fighting monsters. They're getting killed off. Again, I give the movie credit for the concept, but just the writing, just horrible. In the first 30 minutes, it loses the plot. Like after the first 30 minutes, you lose the plot. And the tone of a lot of the scenes, it shifted from super serious to just fucking cheesy, not knowing what it wanted to be. And then there's a lot of continuity errors. There's a point where one of the guys is standing there talking to the Reverend, and he's standing on this kind of patio staircase, and it's a close-up. It's of him leaning on the rail. Then we cut to the next shot. The immediate next shot is him with his leg over the rail talking to the Reverend. And I was just like, did you guys not have much to work with here? What the fuck is going on? And then there's another one further in the movie towards the end where they're walking into this warehouse. A werewolf you can see this werewolf in the shadow way before he's supposed to pop out. But he just happened to be in this shot. A few cuts happen where another one comes out. Then it cuts back to the girl that was standing there. It was like foreshadowed that he was going to pop out, and he pops out right of the shadow that you can clearly see in the previous shot. This film is bananas with that shit. You got to take this film with a grain of salt because, oh my gosh, it's hilarious in certain parts. There's certain parts of this movie where the editing could have really saved the scene if it was placed correctly. Like portions shouldn't have been edited in linear fashion. It should have been kind of interspersed. Like there's a scene where the crew finds the actual gold, and it's a straight cut from they walk in, cut between all the characters talking. Then they cut back to the barman who starts telling a story about what they're finding. And if that had been interspersed in between them finding that with a narration style and intercut a few scenes of him getting the information out of the vampire, it would have made that sequence a whole lot better. But that's not how it happened. And then there's a scene also where they randomly throw in some music that just does not match the scene. It doesn't match the vibe of the film or scene that it's in. Mind you, this story takes place in 1928. So there shouldn't be nothing synthesized in this movie. It should have really fit the film, but it fails to do that. It had the vibe of Gladiator 2 with Jay-Z and Kanye rapping. It's like that just doesn't match the vibe you're going for, the scenery that is set in. So that was another odd choice. There's a few ADR issues. I mean, what do you expect? And then the kicker of all this is at the end of the film, they try to set up for an indie monster universe. And it's just like, really? You think you're going to get a sequel? Well, I mean, who knows? It's very possible that it could get a direct-to-DVD or a direct-to-streaming sequel. But that pretty much sums this movie up. It's a indie werewolf movie that just... You know what you're getting yourself into. Don't have any high expectations of this film. They just not there. The acting is subpar. The best thing you had was the guy doing Frighteners. And even him, he was hit and miss. Having Rampage trying to be the action star when he is not an action star. He's not even in shape to do any of the action scenes that he's in. Yeah, I know, I'm just ragging on this movie. I didn't have high hopes, but I was interested in the concept and see how it would go. You know, again, like in most films, there's a better version of this somewhere on the cutting room floor. And it just seems like some of the takes that were there, the wrong takes got picked up. Like there was a bunch of continuity errors with the general. The Reverend approaches the general is not smoking. In the next cut, the general just pops up the magic cigarette and just starts taking a puff. Then the immediate shot after that is the cigarette disappears. And it's just like, what are we doing here? How did you not catch this in the editing process? And it's like, are we not doing dailies? You know, because that would have cut down on a lot of these problems. Or the director and the writer all should have sat down and been on scene, on set, to be like, hey, you know what? We need to catch this because This shit is going to be confusing in the editing bay. But all that to say, you can still check out this film you want. Like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one.